the District of Columbia, up until recently, was considered Chocolate City. To be more...
Chocolate meaning, at least for some
those
in
outside
our audience that may not understand that?
Yeah, up until recently, and I say recently, I'd say within the last 10 years when gentrification has really kind of taken over the demographics of the district was predominantly an African-American city. Now, that does not mean that there was not racial tension and strife, but that narrative that you hear in other spaces and places around the United States wasn't and isn't necessarily reflective of the dynamics within the district. There were other dynamics at play, but I would dare say, at least in the here and now, the Metropolitan Police Department is not rife with abuse, physical abuse, killing, and whatnot. Now, there was one recently, but now that being said, our mandate as commissioners, and I'll let Mamadou speak specifically to the Office on African Affairs, is unique to the African immigrants' experience within the district. And that in and of itself is unique and set apart from the African American experience at large. And I say unique not to say that it's so very different and that there are not issues that cross, but there are issues that we are honing in on that are specific to the African immigrant diaspora within the district. There are other offices under the mayor's auspice that deal specifically with racial dynamics. We are more so the cultural liaison, so to speak.
And this past February, Lloyd moderated a panel where we joined with the African American community to talk about really what unites us rather than what people think divides us. And we talked about how the African American population contributed to the anti-apartheid movement and how Africans contributed to the civil rights movement. And so these are things that we're doing.
And of course, how the African Americans, frankly, contribute to the decolonization of Africa.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
We're talking about Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois, George Padmore, and a lot of other people.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And so when you go deep and you think about the relationship between Lumumba and the civil rights leaders and Malcolm X going to Africa, and so I mean, you see that we're really more, we have more that unites us than divides us.
Very interesting. Mariama, any more feedback from the social media world?
Well, Shaka, you talk about Du Bois, and you're taking me right back into when I was in college and going back to one of my favorite classes, which was the African American history class that I took, which just taught me so much more than I thought I knew before I came to the U.S. So that's one thing I would recommend for a lot of Africans who are coming in here to maybe think about.
You know where he's buried? He's buried in the Ghanaian capital of Accra.
There you go.